Alright guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video. Today I've got our first looks at LEGO Star Wars sets coming out 2026. Now I say kind of because about most of these have like the watermark images, so I can't actually show them on screen. I can show pieces of them, so I can edit around with what I can show, but I'm not going to be able to show the whole images. But a couple of them have been leaked without any of that stuff, like officially leaked. And so I can show those ones. I'll put those on the screen for you guys to start off with. The first one we have is set 75440, the AT-AT MIDI scale. Now this is our first MIDI scale since they've reintroduced the series that's outside of Starships. They originally said it was only going to be Starship, and it wasn't called the MIDI scale, it was called the Starship series. It breaks that trend, and I gotta say for the AT-AT, I think it was supposed to be like 50 bucks, something like that, 50 or 60 bucks, somewhere in that area, less than 70. Not bad for what it looks like. 520 pieces, 525 pieces. It's got like a little buildable snow speeder that goes around the leg, so very cool. You know, it's kind of hard to tell from the one image we have how like scale wise it's gonna work, but for what it looks like, I think for the first introduction of something outside of the Starships and MIDI scale, I think it looks pretty good, all things being considered. The next set we have is set 75441, the MIDI scale Venator attack class cruiser. This was another one that kind of came out of left field because we just had the Acclimator come out a year or two ago during, you know, kind of that era of when we had the Venator come out for the UCS set. So we thought if a Venator was going to come out anytime for a MIDI scale, it would have been then, but we're getting it now. So weird timing, but nonetheless, it looks pretty good. I just got to say, you know, again, scale wise, it's kind of hard to tell, but 643 pieces, I don't think it's going to be much smaller or bigger than any of the other ones we've seen. I think it'll be kind of on scale with the Invisible Hand, the Acclimator, the Home One. All of those kind of are pretty similar in size and shape. I think this would kind of fall in line with that, and I think it looks pretty good for what it is. I believe this one's going to be $70. Then we have the BB-8. I forget the set number. It's not on the leak, but from the picture we have, it comes with the plaque, display pack, plaque, and then it comes with a BB-8, and then the set itself looks pretty good. It looks like the disc kind of open up from the sides, kind of like the droid would in the actual movie. So it has some plate capabilities and functions. I think it looks pretty good. It doesn't really look that big, but if I'm not mistaken, this isn't really an expensive one. I feel like this was like $80 if I'm not mistaken, or 75 or something like that. It was less than 100, and it was one of the more cheaper buildable character sets we were getting so far. So all things being considered, I think it looks good. I do wonder how it's going to compare in size to the rest of the buildable characters we've gotten so far, like R2-D2, Chewbacca, 3PO. We'll see how it compares to them, but by itself, standalone, I think it looks pretty good. Now, alright guys, so at the time of recording, these sets hadn't leaked yet, but I was editing and they just leaked, so that's why wardrobe change, lighting changed. We got some new pictures for the latter half of these sets, so I'm going to go over these real quick. So first one we're going to talk about is the Clone Shock Trooper set 75448, the Shock Trooper mech. It looked kind of exactly what we thought it would look. All the mechs look pretty similar in style. It's got, I think it looks like a sticker for the chest, and then it comes with just a Shock Trooper. It looks like it's the same one that we've seen with the helmet holes, the same printing and all of that. I think it looked okay for a mech so far. It's supposed to only be $15, so that's a price reduction from all the other Star Wars mechs we've gotten so far. They've all been $17, so that's nice. But other than that, it's really, you know, kind of what we expected, just a Clone Shock Trooper mech. It's the first mech outside of, you know, I guess you can count them all if you wanted to, but all the other ones have been like OT, and I guess you can say like Rebels or something like that for Maul, even if you wanted to. But it's like very clear-cut prequels, Clone Wars style. So first of that. Speaking of that, then we have the Siege of Mandalore Battle Pack set 75449. Now this one was the one that most fans were excited for because it's got new Mandalorians. So as you can see, it's gonna be 2 and 2. You're gonna get 2 Clone Troopers, 327th Ahsoka Troopers, and then you're gonna get 2 Mandalorians. Now they're different. One looks like it's a female variant. One looks like it's a male variant. They don't have like the horns or the spikes on top of the helmet like we saw with the Mandalorian that we just got 4 or 5 years ago in the Mandalore Gauntlet pack, or not pack set. Anyways, I think they look pretty good so far. I'm really interested to see how like compares to like their style in person to the other Mandalorians, but it looks kind of similar to the sets we got during the Clone Wars era. Either way, I think it looks pretty good. One of them comes with like the blue transparent shield that you see, the vibro shield, and then they come with blasters. They both look like they come with jetpacks, and then the set, the build itself look pretty good. The clones come with like a little barricade with a turret on it, like a stud shooter, and then the Mandalorians come with like a little speeder with also like a little turret on the back that can be manned. So very, very cool. I think all of it looks pretty good together for a battle pack of only $23. Then we have set 75443, the 4+ Grogu's Homestead. We didn't really know what to expect for this one. It looks like it's just a bunch of different little Easter eggs from the Mandalorian, and it's just, you know, stuff with Grogu. We got like a little frog that looks like the eggs. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a catapult or something like that. I can't really tell what that's supposed to be. And then you have it looks like a little fireplace with a cooking pot. So very cool. For a 4+ set for $20, I think this is perfect, especially with the Mandalorian Grogu coming out. Very interesting. All things being considered, I think for $20 a 4+ set, this is totally fair. 4+ sets are one of those sets that they kind of price gouged for a while, and I think, you know, they didn't sell well. And I think Lego seeing that if they want these to sell, they gotta kind of bring the price down a little bit. So I think this set is pretty cool for what it is. Then we have our next set, the Mandalorian Grogu Speeder Bike. Very interesting set for only $10. Set 75436. Now looking at it, it looks like it really only should be $10. It's just interesting because usually Lego will throw a bunch of random stuff in these sets and hike it up to $20 or $25 or $30. We saw that with the Grogu Escape with Keller and Beck. That set should probably have only been $20, $25, but they threw a couple extra, like a lamppost in, so they could help the price piece. They didn't do that for this one. It's only got 58 pieces. It only comes with a Mandalorian Grogu and a little dinky speeder, and I think $10 is totally fair. I like it. You know, you're doing a Mandalorian Grogu movie. You need sets that are just easy for anyone to pick up. And I think this is a really good idea. You know, there's not really a lot of complaints. For only $10, there's really not much you should be able to complain about because it's not supposed to be very much. And I like that. So, very, very cool. For only $10 set, I'm not going to complain too much. And then lastly, we have a $35 set, Cobb Vanth Speeder, or I like to say Cobb Vanth versus Cad Bane. It's going to be set 75437. And as you can see from the set, it's got Cobb Vanth with like the Boba Fett armor, Mandalorian armor. And you have Cad Bane very clearly with the breathing apparatus, the hat, and the blue face. Overall, I think it looks pretty cool. I believe this is the first time we're getting Cobb Vanth, so I think that's really awesome. It's really cool that we get him with the Cad Bane armor. The speeder, I don't remember this style of speeder from the show. It's been a while since I watched this show. I believe this is from the Book of Boba Fett, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, all that being considered, I think it looks pretty good. It almost looks like a pod racer kind of a speeder with like that engine front. But either way, I think it looks really, really cool. I like the style of like the yellow and red, almost like a hot rod speeder. But the Cobb Vanth looks great, and it's nice to get another Cad Bane. For $35, it looks okay. Looks like it'd be a fair price. So there you guys have it. Pretty interesting stuff. One thing I wanted to mention was you could see on all of the Mandalorian sets, they have like the different box art compared, right? All the other box arts for last year and this year, or next year even, look like it's going to be the normal black with like a stripe indicating which series it's from. Like for the Clone Wars, it's orange, and then it has like a 327th Clone Trooper in the corner. You know, if it's any of the other sets, it will have, you know, a different stripe indicating a different series. This one is getting away from that. It looks more closer to what we got in years past, where it's just like all this blue studs or gray studs or black studs on top, like a building style, and then it has just a character. And because obviously all of these Mandalorian sets are not from one series. One's from Boba Fett, one's from an earlier Mandalorian series. So like they're all from different Mandalorian things, but they're all not from like one show. So I think it's kind of like a promotion thing for the Mandalorian Grogu, just kind of like showing like, hey, if you want anything from the Mandalorian Grogu, here are sets that are from that universe. So I think it's very cool. It's very different from the rest of the styles for the box art, so I'm interested to see why they did that. I'm hoping it's not a reoccurring thing, because I think most people would agree they like you know, it all look the same. You know, even if they change it just a little bit, that's fine. But you want your Lego sets to look together. You know, when they start looking completely different, it just kind of throws off the aesthetic, I think. And sometimes even the appeal of the aesthetic is completely off. I think it takes away. So very interesting stuff. I'm assuming it's for the promotion for the movie, but we'll see. So there you guys go. Doing that, taking that route. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I know these pictures aren't great, but it's what we got. First glance, first look at a lot of these sets. And for the most part, I'm pretty excited. It gets some nice, cheap Lego Star Wars sets. It feels like Lego Star Wars sets are getting more and more expensive every year. It's nice to kind of see that halt for the time being. So I'm excited. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.